What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
Carrie.
What's up?
And because the people demanded it, making his long-awaited return in the top right box on your YouTube. And sitting right in the top right section of your heart if you're listening on podcast service. Terrence is back, everybody. Terrence, what's going on?
Not much. Felt like I needed to have my presence felt.
Wow.
After half a year.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a
while.
7 months.
Have you played anything fun in 7?
What haven't I played? Played everything. To start running them. The thing is, I don't buy expensive games because I'm poor. So what I do is like I allocate like $60 every couple weeks to see what's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just take it from there. I bought a bunch of games. Last week, in fact, I bought Blasphemous, the side-scrolling, whatever you want, Metroidvania.
Catholicvania, we can call it.
Yeah, that's super fucked up. It's fucked up. It's a good game. I finished it the other day. I'm on my second run through because you can only do certain things on your second playthrough. Picked up a game called Going Under.
Mm-hmm.
It's a roguelike where you play a what do they call them? Jesus Christ! You play somebody. What the hell do they call it? Intern at a startup, at like a tech startup, and they send you into dungeons to defeat monsters from old tech startups that have failed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 3 dungeons that you got to go through. It's fun. Like the story is kind of more important than the actual gameplay. It's a fun game.
So it's the Google story?
Yes. You play intern for this game called Fizzle. It's a supplement drink. It's supposed to take over breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You just drink your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you have all this cast of characters you talk to before you go down into the dungeons to defeat the bosses of these old tech startups. It's fun. Played Virtua Fighter 5. They added Ryu and Chun-Li to Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
I heard that those 2 characters were just, I mean, why even play it then? Why even have rules?
No, why even have rules for Chun-Li? Because that bitch is broken. Like she literally breaks the rules of the game. Ryu, on the other hand, he's not very good by himself. Like if you don't have a team surrounding him that helps him get in, he's gonna get blown up. But the thing about him is if he touches you, he will kill you. Doesn't matter which character you're fighting with him, he will kill you. If you don't drop your combo, he will kill any character in the game. Each character has their own health pool. The most amount of health that you can have is 1100. He can do a 1200 point combo by himself. Jesus. With no meter, with no assist. It's ridiculous. Chun-Li, on the other hand, she just breaks the rules of the game, and it's obnoxious fighting her. I hate her. But she's fun to play. What else have I played? I played a game and a half of Mass Effect. Halfway through Mass Effect 2. I've beaten all 3 games before, but just playing through them simultaneously, like side by side, it really makes you appreciate how big of a difference 1 to 2. I love the story of 1. I love everything you do in 1, but the combat is just garbage. Like it's terrible. It's not really good.
Hot takes on the episode today. So
I haven't gotten to 3 yet. So I don't remember how 3 plays that well, but I do remember it being better than 2.
Yeah.
What else have I don't even know. A couple more fucking VR games. It's just so much. I can't. But yeah, and Virtua Fighter 5 is fun. Like I was a huge Virtua Fighter player back in the day. The servers for VF5 are good, but it doesn't have rollback netcode. It has delay-based netcode. And what they do is they rented out Google Relay servers. So what happens is when you get partnered up with somebody, when you're fighting them, it'll connect to a server. And now these servers are all over the world. But the problem with that is, say I'm fighting someone in Europe, like that connection can sometimes be slightly good. Sometimes it could be bad if it's peer-to-peer. But what happens is since it's server based, like say I'm playing in Baltimore and the server that we connect to is in like France, and they're in Europe. If they connect to that French server, their connection is great. Mine is trash. So it's not equal.
Mhm.
So I can tell when I have a terrible server and they have a really good server because they're just pulling off combos. I can't block anything. There's literally like a 30 frame delay between when I press. It's bad. Like when I say
real
it's
bad.
that's a half a second because it runs at 60 frames per second. So when I press a button and it does and nothing comes out for 30 seconds, I can't do shit. So most of the time, if I know it's that bad, I'll just put the controller down because there's no point in even fighting. But then again, if say it's a server in Virginia and I'm in Maryland, I have a great server, and if they're in Europe, they're trash, and I can tell because they can't stop anything that I'm doing. So it's kind of fucked up.
You can't prioritize just fighting local.
No, you can choose best, but the matchmaking is not that great right now. Like they have to fix it. So you can I'm like 50% win loss, and a lot of those losses are because it's just nothing I can do against. I know I'm not good. I know I'm not that great, but I'm not that bad where I get perfected 3 times because I couldn't do anything. So they got to fix that. But other than that, it's Virtua Fighter with using the Dragon engine that the Yakuza games use, and it looks really good. And it's a great game. And the fact that game is very it's heavily based on like timing and like reaction. If you can't react to something that someone's doing because there's a 30 frame delay, the fuck is the point? I'm not exaggerating when I say.
Oh, I believe it. I've seen YouTube clips of people explaining just what you said.
Right.
Like it's
really
like,
bad.
I mean, any game, if you're forced to suffer like literally a half-second delay in your input is going to be pretty bad. It's going to be 10 times that for a fighting game.
Virtua Fighter,
so
because like the crouching punch is like the go-to in that game, and you have, if you block it, there's a -5 frame advantage against them, and there's always a move that you can use to negate them from continuously doing that. But if you have a 30 frame disadvantage, you can't stop them from just punching you in your kneecaps till you die. It's fucking annoying. But besides that, like when you have a good connection with someone else that has a good connection, the matches are great. But yeah, they got to fix that. But I love the game. I almost deleted it from my hard drive because it got to a point where I couldn't deal with it. I'm like, yo, this is getting on my fucking nerves. I can't.
Terrence
I'm not that bad.
Has the best like back of the box quotes that we could ever like imagine. Like, I love the game. I almost deleted it from my hard drive. Terrence 10 Pixels podcast.
Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, so like there's a ton of other games to play, but I'm not. There's too many to name.
Harry, what new you had to tell us about Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne featuring Dante from Devil May Cry series HD remaster?
I played that back in the day because Dante was in that game.
That's I mean, that's how they got you back in the day.
You're absolutely correct.
They were like, yo, these dumb Americans don't know what Shin Megami Tensei is, but they do know who Dante is.
But like you said last week, it was Devil May Cry 2 Dante, and fuck that game.
Yeah. It is DMC 2 Dante.
I've never bought another thing from eBay because of that game.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a true story.
Terrence should just stop playing like number 2 sequels. Essentially,
anything.
You seem to have a bad experience with those.
But yeah, so Nocturne is I'm chugging along. It's interesting. Like, I don't know if the game has gotten easier or if I have just gotten smarter. I feel like I've become smarter in the last 14 years.
One hopes.
I have a very expensive piece of paper that says that I'm very smart. So yeah, I mean, I've somehow only party wiped twice, and I'm like starting to get into the back half of the story. So that's fun. I feel like a lot of it is just me like over preparing for bosses that I know are ahead. So I'll do a little bit of grinding, and then like I'll beat a boss in 3 minutes. I'm just like, oh, maybe I was over leveled for that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's like, it's already on sale because of course it is. So the price was down to, I think, $40 last I checked. So if you're interested, I would say it's worth $40. I thought 50 was pushing it. I of course paid 70 because I'm an idiot.
Like I said, that would have been worth the extra 10 if you had if they had actually touched up the cutscenes a little bit, right?
Yeah, maybe if they had upres the cutscenes from 480i and maybe uncompressed that PlayStation 2 era music, that would have been great. They didn't do either of those things. Since I'm playing on PC, I at least have the hope of someone eventually modding that stuff, though. So we'll see what happens. Also, yeah, the new Monster Hunter Rise update came out, I guess, like 2 weeks ago now, but I wasn't on last week's show, so I'll talk about it now. It's good. It sort of wraps up the story. You have your big final story boss, which is Narwa the All-Mother, and boy howdy, she's a bitch. That's the hardest fight in the game by far. Yeah, she's rough. She basically has this move where she turns the whole battlefield into like a blender, and she sucks you into the center of it. And good luck. Good luck with that.
This was free DLC, right?
Yes, all of the updates coming to Monster Hunter Rise are free DLC. Like every time they add new monsters and whatnot, all of the monsters and extra quests and whatnot, historically that's always been free. The only stuff that you have to pay for is like layered armor and goofy little accessories for your palico and different hairstyles, like purely cosmetic stuff, and like maybe different background music because you can change the background music in the game. But that's it. That's all they're like doing microtransaction style DLC for.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah. So Valstrax was the other big Elder Dragon that they updated, and yeah, do you want to try punching a fighter jet? Because that's what that is. So that's
What's
fun.
the name of the monster?
Valstrax.
I thought you said Valtrax. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say it's I was like, wait, what? I was like groin medication or something.
Yeah, that's
yeah, Valstrax. Crimson Glow Valstrax.
Well, you might have never mind.
So
if you're dealing with Crimson Glow Valstrax, you might have erectile dysfunction.
So we'll talk about Mass Effect in a second, but before we do that, I have to talk about Griftlands, which was a game that I've been looking forward to from Clay, who are the same folks that did Don't Starve and a few other games.
They did the Ninja game.
I think they did as well. I don't remember what it was called, but I know what you are talking about. This is nothing like Don't Starve. So basically, like I said, the 5-second elevator pitch for this game is, what if Slay the Spire was an RPG? Because that's kind of what this is, where it is a deck building roguelike game where you are going on runs. There's 3 different characters. Each character has a unique deck of cards. They have unique abilities that work to them, and they all have their own like unique story in the game as well that you try to run through. And you have each character has 2 decks. You have a battle deck for when you get into actual scraps with people, but you also have a negotiation deck because you also battle all of your arguments with people in this deck building style of game, where basically as you fight someone, you each have like a core argument that you're making, and then you have all these like sub arguments that will pop up around them that it's basically like a regular fight, but it's just kind of interesting how they sort of frame it. And because it's like an RPG, you get to often choose how you handle every situation. So there's some cases where like you have a choice whether you want to fight somebody or negotiate with them, and depending on what you choose and how you do, those will have like long-ranging effects. And there's like a relationship system in the game where every character is either going to be indifferent to you, or they may like or dislike you, which means that usually if they're like a shopkeeper, they'll give you a discount or they'll charge you more for stuff in their store. Or you can get to loving and hating you. If they love you, they'll give you like a buff, like a relic from Slay the Spire that buffs you. And if they hate you, you'll get like a negative bane that will harm you essentially. So you want to try to limit how many people hate you, but it's kind of unavoidable because by doing different things in the game, like choosing, like when you fight people, they have what's called a panic meter. And when they get panicked, essentially, they'll give up, and you can either accept their surrender or you can kill them. And killing them is pretty good because it gets you another, like a bonus card to add to your deck essentially. but it might also have like far-reaching effects that you don't know about yet, because like you might have pissed off their best friend or something, and now that best friend hates you and wants to come after you. It's really fucking interesting. A really crazy roguelike game. It does slay the spire in a very unique fashion. For roguelike, the runs are long because again, it's an RPG. Like to beat the game, you have to survive, I think, like 5 days. And there's shit that happens every day. You can kind of choose the jobs that you take on, that you tackle. As you use characters and as you gain experience with them, you'll unlock new cards that will get added to your card pool, just like any other deck building game that's out there as well. It's really fucking good so far. Like I've really been enjoying it quite a bit. I'm a little concerned on the sameness front, because again, the storylines, like it's the same core story for each of the three, for each character has their own core story, but it's the same every time you play. What's different is the jobs that'll be presented to you, and the dialogue is different, and the different characters you run into might not be the same on every run. There's permanent upgrades you can unlock, just like, you know, a typical roguelike game would be. It's a fucking killer game. I've been playing. I put in like 10 hours since it came out on Friday last week. I've done several runs. I haven't beat it yet, but I'm really engrossed into it. I know it just came out on the Switch. It's still on sale, I think. It's been on Steam for a while. I don't think it's on PlayStation or Xbox, unfortunately. But I've been digging the shit out of Griftlands. So I would say that if you like Slay the Spire, you should definitely check it out. If you like RPGs but haven't really messed with deck builders, or you don't like them, I don't know if this is going to be a good pick for you, though, because the deck building aspect is core to the gameplay. Like if you don't wrap your head around that well, you're not going to like it. And it's also not an easy game because there's a shitload of systems and different status effects that you have to learn and things of that nature as well. So it's hard to make a blanket recommendation. It's a no-brainer if you like Slay the Spire. If you like roguelikes, look into it a little bit more. I plan on streaming it sometime this week, so you guys will be able to check that out, so you can actually see some gameplay from Griftlands to see if it's something that you would dig or not. But I've been enjoying the shit out of it. I wasn't expecting it to like it as much as I have. We've been fucking spoiled so far this year for new games, not the least of which is the best remaster of games that I've seen exist so far. Is that a statement that is incorrect?
I don't think it is, given the state that Mass Effect 1 was to where it is now. But no, I don't think that's an incorrect statement. Now, you know, my bias might be showing a bit.
I'm trying to think of the remasters I played. This is 3 games.
Yeah.
One. $60. Yeah, right. It is. Yeah. And I don't have a PS5 yet, but I'm playing in the performance mode on the PS4 Pro, and I have a 4K TV. Yeah, this game looks really fucking good. All of them.
Yeah.
Even one.
It's great.
Yeah, like go back and look at some clips of one.
I played one back in 2007 or whenever the hell that game came out. Yeah, it looks so much better. Yeah, I don't think that statement's false.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. My hot take. So, Mass Effect 2, for my money, best Mass Effect game in the series. So I played 2, beat it. Started 3. I just started 3 when we recorded the podcast last week. I'm about halfway into it now. Taking my time, doing a shitload of side missions. I've done all of the action-based DLC at this point, which I'd never done before, by the way. I never went back and played the DLCs in Mass Effect 3, but I played Omega, I played Leviathan. They were both very good. I think when you take it as a complete package, I think that Mass Effect 3 might actually be the best Mass Effect game, guys. I think it might actually be the best.
It is, you know, Mass Effect 3 is the one I played the least.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, so I didn't remember a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But whereas Mass Effect 1 is like this, you know, this space opera Mass Effect 2 is like a real dark version of that space opera, and Mass Effect 3 is dire. Like the things that are going on, man, it's just like, yo, I got like you feel the world weariness in Shepard, right? I'm at the point of no return.
Oh shit! All right, you played a hell of a lot of that then.
And but I'm going to cheat a bit. I'm going to because I want to finish this, but I'll go back and do Omega and Leviathan on
See, they work so much
difficulty
better in context.
I know.
They work so much better in context. Like you don't want to save them till the end.
I know. I'm gonna, but I want to get through this insanity run, and I started Omega, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this with this setup. I have a very specific setup to get me through that requires certain team members to be there, and they're not.
Right. Omega, you are by yourself with Arya and then eventually Nyreen Candace. So
right. And I really want to I need to get this insanity thing done for my own like sense of pride. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
I don't know, just the way the stories are told in 3 and the way that plot unfolds just feels more refined compared to Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is a collection of fantastic, like serialized stories where they're just kind of like one-offs here and there. You get your character intro, and then they have their, they have their moment, most of which are very good. Like most of the loyalty missions that in Mass Effect 2 are fucking amazing, and that's what makes that game awesome. But 3, like the way it ties everything together, the different characters they bring back, it again, if you've played the previous 2 games, it's even better because they really leverage your, the relationships that you have with those characters. You can really, I feel like in 3 you can role play more than you could in the other games. That's because you have the context of the events from the other games to kind of guide you along. Much less of a, hey, this is a strict Paragon or Renegade choice and I'm playing one way or the other. Like I've made a lot more Renegade decisions in 3, despite the fact that I've been doing a Paragon run through the series, just because they seem to be the right choice based on how I was feeling.
Yeah, like somebody was shooting at you when you're like, hey, I'm on this ship.
Right.
I need to get out of here. It's like, no, we're going to shoot at the ship anyway. And then you come back and just like, yo, fuck you, yo. And then just fucking get off my ship. Like, I get it.
And it's funny because like I went into 3, like, sure. I was like, so like in my head, like I'm role playing this, right? Like, so Morden died in 2 for me. Morden was like, he convinced me why the genophage was good, actually. Like they refined it, perfectly. And this was the way to go. And so all throughout 3, I was like, well, I'm not going to cure the genophage. Like I'm just not going to do it. Like we're like Morden convinced me he's dead. RIP in peace. I'm gonna honor my boy's wishes because he's not going to be there to tell me otherwise. But then talking to the Dalatrash, she was a bitch. And then talking to Rex and talking to Eve, and they're like, it's going to be different this time, we promise. And then I was like, oh man, you're convincing me. You talked me into it. And then we're riding in the carrier, and I'm like, yeah, the Valstrax trying to get me to fuck you guys over, but I'm not going to do it. And I saved the Krogan. And then the very next mission, I went to the Rachni caves, and I spared the Rachni queen in the first game. And then all of a sudden, the Rachni are like in it with the like they got like Reaper tech and shit. And finally, get to the queen. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we talked about this. Like, you guys were gonna lay low. Like, now you're all with the Reapers. And they're like, oh, we didn't have a choice. Like, they made us. And now I was like, fuck you. Fool me once. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I'm gonna let Grunt fucking drive one of your bitches off a cliff, and then he's gonna come back with blood all over him. But he survives because he's fucking Grunt, because he's awesome. Like that kind of shit. Like I was all my feelings about it. Like, that pissed me off.
Yeah, it's scary how similar we are. Yeah, but yeah, I've been playing, like, we've been working from home. So I've been putting work in on Mass Effect, and yeah, I'm at the point of no return. And it's Mass Effect, playing Mass Effect 3 really made me miss the multiplayer.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like if they ever add that in, forget about it.
I mean, yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. But like my galactic readiness is at like 7,000 or some shit like that. Like I'm ready. I'm ready. And at this point, I just kind of want to plow through. I got my Quarian girlfriend with me, which was an interesting couple of conversations to have with Liara.
That's another funny thing too, is that like I was about to do the Citadel stuff. I was like, oh wait, haven't gotten Tali yet. I was like, let's wait to get Tali first, and then we'll go hang out in Anderson's apartment. So
she was taken aback too, man. I was like, she came up, she was like, so I heard that you had a thing with Tali, but that's over, right? And my ass was like, maybe we should just be friends. And she was just like, oh, okay. All right, I guess. And then I felt bad because now it feels like she's super cold now.
Is it bad that I'm feeling neglected by Liara because she's so
That's exactly what happened to me during 2. I was like, oh, I've been gone for 2 years. You brought me back, but you're so focused on the Shadow Broker. I'm like, all right, well, I guess, you just want to focus on that. It's like that movie we did on Black Cinema. You said,
yeah, the second day, bitch. Like, what the fuck?
You said we should see other people. You too focused on your work. I get it. I understand. You're a modern woman, right? You're very career focused. You're career driven. I respect that. But I'm a mover and a shaker, man. I got this Quarian here. She's just all over me.
And meanwhile, Micah's gonna murder an entire race, or probably did already murder an entire race of artificial intelligence just to impress.
I didn't have to. That's how you impress a woman. You get their mortal enemies. You get their slaves to agree to not take retribution. That's how smooth I am. It took a lot of fucking work too. Jesus Christ.
That's what I'm saying though. What a damn game Mass Effect 3 is, and then you combine that with the buttery smooth combat in that game. Again, I forgot how good it was. And especially compared to 2. Like I always had the impression that 2 and 3 were pretty similar in terms of combat. No, 3 is night and day above.
They really refined it to the point where like I don't even have to use the power wheel, right? Yeah. Like I know what I need my team to do, and just point, hit a button, combo, because everything is about combos and power combos in that game. And once you figure out the right combination, it's a cakewalk. So yeah, man, Mass Effect 3 is amazing. I want to try and finish it tonight, but I don't think I will. So I'll finish it tomorrow and then work on the platinum.
Well, like I said, I really wish I could finish it this week, but I don't think I'll be able to, because as we move into new releases, apparently the new Ratchet and Clank is fucking incredible, and I want to play it like right now. That comes out Friday, but there's a lot more besides that's coming out this week. You have Chivalry 2 coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. You have Edge of Eternity on PC. The Elder Scrolls Online gets its upgrade to PS5 and Xbox Series X to coincide with the release of the new DLC to consoles. Willie Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town. I couldn't possibly imagine what the fuck that game's about. Comes to Switch. Green Hell comes to PlayStation and Xbox. Later Daters comes to Xbox.
That's a survival game.
What is that?
Green Hell.
Green Hell.
Yeah.
No More Heroes 1 and 2 come to PC. The Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Expansion comes to PS5. Ninja Gaiden Master Edition comes to Switch.
I was looking forward to that as well, but it's the Sigma version of the games, and no.
It's the baby versions of all the games.
They made easier because the other ones were too difficult.
Yes.
Which they were. I'm not going to lie and say they weren't.
One Hand Clapping comes to PC. We Are Football comes to PC. Darius Burst, Another Chronicle EX Plus comes to PlayStation and Switch. Guilty Gear Strive comes to PC and PlayStation, and the aforementioned Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart comes to the PlayStation 5.
Did you play the beta for that? Anybody? Guilty
No.
Gear?
Guilty Gear.
Mhm.
No.
I played the beta for it.
Very
yeah.
pretty.
It's very pretty. It's also very Guilty Gear, but like not really.
Yeah, they did what Mortal Kombat did with Mortal Kombat 11. They kind of slowed it down a bit
Yeah,
compared to the rest of the series.
it feels different, and it feels, you know, how Street Fighter is a slower paced game. That this is the Street Fighter of Guilty Gear.
Right. That's still complex. Fuck. Yeah. Very pretty. Like it looks incredible. Like a game looks, it's insane how good that game looks. To a fault sometimes, but sometimes I just can't tell what the hell is going on. There's just so much going on.
So many colors, so much shit going on, and yeah, I get it. The Discord is live, folks. Go to densepixels.com/fans. We got a lot of channels there. Is that what they're called, Carrie? Channels?
Yes, they are various channels. I have done my absolute best to streamline the Discord into various categories. So you have your wrestle category, and you have your online gaming category, and that's where you can find our post office as well, since we have fully emigrated the post office from the Facebook into the Discord. But yeah, you can come hang out with us. I think I am going to try to sort of host various E3 streams over the weekend so that we can have sort of a live reaction conversation as these press conferences go live. So yeah, head to the Discord that I think only I am moderating.
That's at densepixels.com/fans.
Yeah, I sure see Brad and Triskaideka as other mods, but pretty sure I'm the only one doing anything.
Yeah,
you know the platform better than we do. So.
This
There
is
you go.
also true.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just looking at stuff and liking it. That's all I do. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and you can like us there. Click that like button, click that bell notification icon, smash subscribe. We're trying to be like the Paul brothers and be famous for no reason, so that we can get our asses handed to us by arguably the best boxer in the world.
It's cool that you treat that as anything more than an absolute work that it was.
Look. I don't want to hear nobody talking about wrestling when boxing exists. All right? It's always been like that. Get out of here with your nonsense. Go to youtube.com/densepixels and like and subscribe. Subscribe to all of the TMP Studios podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, including Nerdpocalypse. We'll probably be talking about Loki, the Disney Plus show. Black on Black Cinema, we just had our 200th episode. Jay, myself, Terrence, and Tiara all reviewed Two Can Play That Game. A really stupid movie that Jay just absolutely loves. And Jay loves it. Jay loves it because Jay is thick-headed, and he is any movie that breaks the fourth wall, it's automatically one in the win column for Jay. He loves when people look at the camera and talk to him directly. Coming distractions, our contemporary movie review show. Maybe we'll review In the Heights. I know my Freudian slip, my wife really wants to see.
I'm actually looking forward to that myself.
Yeah, I want to see In the Heights, and she really wants to see In the Heights. So
I'm going to be watching In the Heights, but I think I'm going to save my thoughts on In the Heights for this month's episode of Upstage Conversation.
There you go. Let's just jump straight to that. Go to densepixels.com/premium. And for $5 a month, $50 for a year, you get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including Upstage Conversation, where Carrie will pontificate on In the Heights.
Do they have a pro shot of that movie? Of that play?
I'm sure I could find it. Is there a pro shot? I don't know. Are there bootlegs on YouTube? Absolutely. Yes. And yeah, Broadway is notoriously stingy about what pro shots get released. I found out recently that there was a pro shot done of the very last like Cats performance on its original run on the West End in Britain, and that's never been released in full. There's like pieces of it online, but they've never fully released it, and I'm like, just fucking give it to me, man. Like, what? Why wouldn't you just give it to me? You should listen to the most recent episode of Upstage, because Brad joined me for some baseball time, some musical baseball adventures.
A League of Their Own is a
No,
musical.
A League of Their Own is not a musical. We watch Damn Yankees.
Oh, I thought that was like
Damn the North.
like I thought that was like something.
That's
Southern.
actually about baseball.
No, that's about baseball.
Yeah.
I don't like baseball at all.
I know.
God,
And
it's
a musical
so
about
good.
baseball would make me want to blow my brains out. Oh,
It is so good having you back, Terry. Jesus Christ. The airing of grievances, our Seinfeld show. Look, we're doing these. We're getting them. We're banging them out. And this, I think, the next episode is the one where you will really look down on Jay.
If you aren't already.
Yeah, I mean, if you aren't already, like, I mean, this is it.
Most everybody does, and I mean, literally,
like it's a little ridiculous. He's a pompous ass. You can
listen to this week's with Kathy Griffin. I think that episode is funny, but yeah, Kathy Griffin is the issue with that episode. I wanted to throw her down a flight of stairs. Awful. But the episode itself is funny.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah, except for her. Like, she's the one thing that and she's in another fucking episode. All right.
Yeah, I know that episode also.
Jesus. You can listen to our back catalog of No Time to Bleed. The Men with the Golden Tongues will be returning. They're scheduled to record this week.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
It will be great.
It's going to be.
Look, it's hard. It's tough to schedule this one because as much as we might like it to, the world does not revolve around our whims when it comes to scheduling podcasts. But we now have a solid plan in place to get this episode recorded. So,
yes, I find it. I find it difficult to exclaim how excited I am to do the next episode of The Man with the Golden Tongues.
Yeah. And
if all that's not enough, you can listen to Look Forward Political Podcast with Jay and Brad and sometimes Andy.
Andy himself said he's gonna be relegated to a bit player this season just because his work schedule is not cooperating. Yeah, we have not recorded yet this week. We're recording tomorrow. Tune in to watch me get just ragingly upset at Joe Manchin for completely legitimate reasons. So
I don't understand how anyone goes through their day without being ragingly upset at Joe Manchin at this point, honestly.
So we will crush through what is a light news docket because I figured we'd spend a lot of time up front talking about games, and we did. Nintendo's E3 presentation is going to be on June the 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's going to run roughly 40 minutes and focus on Nintendo Switch software, quote, mostly releasing in 2021. We will get live gameplay for a few games, so we'll see what Nintendo has in store for us next week. Looking forward to a couple things from them. Valorant is coming to mobile. Valorant, of course, the free-to-play PC game. It's been available from Riot Games, same folks that make League of Legends. Doesn't really get talked about on this show too much because Carrie does not play Valorant, and she's the only one who plays stuff on PC. So kind of slips on our radar, but it's very popular. Terrence, despite never having played it, apparently loves it. It's his background this week.
The greatest
on the show.
I don't know what the fuck it is. I barely know what it is. Isn't it like what's that other game?
League of Legends?
Overwatch? Oh, it's like League of Legends. Overwatch, yeah.
I think it's like Overwatch. I think it's like a hero class-based shooter, free to play. So, but you'll soon be able to play it on mobile. So, got that to look forward to.
Never mind.
Also, yeah,
you play mobile. How do you
That's the same way
mobile
Fortnite
first-person
and
shooters.
yeah, Call of Duty has a mobile game, but that's third person, isn't it? Their mobile game.
What, Call of Duty?
Yeah,
No, that's first person.
that's first person. I don't understand it either. So
I don't see how you can do it.
So
virtual controls, weird.
We're forced to continue to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So we talked about the great sales for the game, which they sold about 13 plus million copies in a few weeks in December, right? But they haven't communicated like any actual sale numbers since then. We know they had to issue a bunch of refunds and things of that nature as well. So an analyst has estimated that since the game's first quarter, so it's basically since that first launch window, that the game has sold probably only about 800,000 copies in the entire quarter one 2021 time frame, which I think financially runs from like January or from like February to April or something along those lines.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I covered finance for all of about 6 months last year, trying to reach deep into those recesses of my brain.
So, Micah, you asked a couple weeks ago, what's the negative effect that the fact the game isn't on PlayStation has on the game to be combined with all the negative buzz? Not even be able to push 1 million copies for one of the most anticipated games of this console generation in a 3-month span, I feel like is probably pretty indicative of that.
I think that's hilarious. The PlayStation is still like, nah, fuck y'all. Still,
and the fact that CD Projekt Red, they're like, when is it going to come? They're like, we don't know. It's not up to us. Like they haven't even given you any kind of inclination or goals you have to reach or targets. They're like, no, we don't know.
No. So Sony was like, you released a broken ass piece of shit game on our platform. Go to hell.
That's bad.
Yeah,
that's really bad.
to move less than 1 million copies in a quarter of a game that was like this hyped. I mean, I think the hype ultimately is what worked against them. The amount of hype for this game probably played into the way that number played out, because you had all of this hype for this game and then it released and it was broken to the point of being unplayable for many, many people. And the reviews of people who were able to play it on a system where it functioned were like, oh, the game's fine. You know, it's not some groundbreaking, incredible experience. It's like, it's fine, you know? So yeah, it's interesting. Normally, you know, even if a game doesn't necessarily meet a level of hype, there's still, you know, if it's worth playing, then word will get around and more people will eventually go and play it. But that's not what seemed to happen with Cyberpunk.
You know, I think ultimately that might be what has doomed it the most of all, is the fact that, you know, the fact that it's merely like an 8, merely an 8 out of 10.
If that, you know,
yeah,
it's probably more along the lines of like a 6.5 or 7 of a game. Compared to how hyped it was over the course of years.
Well, it's the anti-Witcher, right? Like the Witcher 3 came out with
very little fanfare,
small build, and it came out and it landed and it sold fine, but nothing groundbreaking. But it was so good that word of mouth just continued to spread over months and months and months, and it was a game that had an extremely long dovetail and just didn't stop selling. Like it was
right, and
a consistent seller for like 2 years.
Obviously, the fact that Netflix decided to do a series based off of the Witcher franchise at large helped play into the sustained success of Witcher 3. Because I'll tell you this much as I'm an RPG person, I didn't even pick up Witcher 3 until after I watched the Netflix series. But you know, Witcher 3 has also been ported to other consoles. The Switch version apparently runs just fine.
Yeah, at like 540p, but you know, it runs good.
Yeah, like it runs. I'm not saying it's a beautiful game. I'm saying it runs.
It does. They like said they had to jack the resolution down to 16-bit levels, but it does run.
But I mean, even at that level, it's still a fun enough game, and I'm sure for people who have lengthy commutes on mass transit. I have a lot of friends who have played through entire RPGs sitting on the train, basically. So that's also something that worked in its favor. But yeah, with Cyberpunk, it was this like huge ramp up for years. They were just hyping it, and then it comes out and it bombs in truly every sense of the word. It doesn't work. The game's only and so word of mouth got around in the complete opposite direction.
The wrong way, right? And it's turning into a potential bit of an albatross for CDPR, because apparently 7 months after the game released, 60% of the development team is still working on the game because of all the bug fixes, because of DLC that they've promised, paid DLC no less, which good luck with that. I mean, Jesus Christ, like what the fuck are you gonna ask people to do? But yeah, according to CDPR, they have about 300 of their employees still working on Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that's sort of wild, but also somewhat not surprising. Yeah, if they're really going to try and charge people on DLC for this any more than like $5 per pack, they're going to have a hard fucking time getting people to pay for DLC. Because you look at other major games that were hyped as shit and then bombed when they came out. And I'm talking about No Man's Sky and Fallout 76. And those two games bombed when they first came out. They did not live up to expectations. They did not live up to the hype that had been generated about them. But both of these games have since released multiple DLC for free. All of the No Man's Sky additional content has been 100% free. All of the Fallout 76 content. And of course, the difference between 76 and No Man's Sky is No Man's Sky is a small team. Hello Games is an indie dev, really.
Whereas literally a dozen people. So.
Yeah, it's literally a handful of people in some office park trying to make this game work. But 76 is by Bethesda, which is a much larger company than even CDPR.
Yeah.
But even Bethesda knows that they're like, yo, if we want people to play this game, we have to make this game worth playing, and we have to do that for free. And I feel like if CDPR is really going to like try and get more people to buy Cyberpunk to begin with, to try and move more copies of their game, that extra content had better be fucking free.
What were you gonna say, Micah?
Did they just cut their losses and just like, let's just start, let's have a team. Let's have a team work on, let's cut the team that's working on it now in half. Mm-hmm. Let's not announce that we're going to do any DLC or anything. And let's start working on another project. Because look, I don't think anyone is going to be buying this game anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? Like this is it. And unless it's like some ridiculously deep sale, and in that case you're losing money anyway,
right?
So do they slowly wean themselves off of this, or do they keep going with like the roadmap or whatever, and by 2022 we'll have all the bug fixes and all that, and you'll have your first DLC? And like
I feel like they have to, because if they don't, the flip side of that is if they just bail on it, how can you ever trust them again with another, big budget game if you're a consumer?
I mean,
that's a real question, right?
But you know how people are, right? Like if they say, "Hey, we're going back to our roots, and we're doing a Witcher 4,"
yeah, it'll be massively successful no matter what. But at the same time, like there's a lot of people who either came in on Witcher 3 and rode the goodwill to Cyberpunk, or came in on Cyberpunk that you might have then been able to get into the Witcher series.
Yeah.
And if you bail on those people,
yeah,
they're not going to trust you. Like
here's the thing. I always want to see a game come out and be good. Mm-hmm. My issues with CDPR specifically is that like we know how bad the crunch culture is there.
Yeah.
So like,
Well,
how
and the
long
fact
have
that
their
they were-
employees been in crunch for a game that has ostensibly failed?
Right, and the fact that they were incredibly duplicitous when the game first released, in terms of how they allowed coverage of the game to come out. Like it's been mishandled 5 weeks from Sunday.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a ton. It's just wild to me that they essentially haven't been able to move past it in the way that a game studio typically would, this far out and moving on to the next thing. So
speaking like on the topic of crunch, like I feel like it's worth mentioning, since the game comes out this week. One of the devs from on the new Ratchet and Clank game said on Twitter today, I would have to dig to find the tweet again, but they basically said like, hey, it's really exciting to see positive reviews for this game, because we didn't crunch at all. We just worked regular 40-hour work weeks, and we want people to know that it is absolutely possible to make a high quality, fun, and entertaining video game without engaging in terrible crunch.
Real talk question. And honestly, Mike is probably the best suited to answer this right this second, because he plays across all their whole catalog. Is Insomniac the best game developer in the industry right now?
You know, they don't make bad games. Like, not one of their games are bad. You know, Resistance, while it is not...
Fuse was not good, but other than that, Fuse is the exception that proves the rule. So
I mean, look, everybody gets one, right?
Fuse came out 8 years ago at this point.
Like, it feels like they're the company that you want to work for, right? Like, they make stellar games. They know how to handle big budget games, but they know how to handle smaller games. It's been wild seeing them come through the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just looking at Ratchet and Clank reviews. Like, god damn it.
Well, fortunately for you, Michael, one game you do not have to worry about buying in 2021 is the new God of War. To the surprise of literally nobody, PlayStation has officially delayed the game into 2022. They said they wanted to just give the studio more time to develop the title. There was no way this game was coming out this year. Anyone that thought it was is insane. There's even rumors that Horizon might get delayed into next year as well, which I'd be a little more surprised about, but I also wouldn't be ridiculously surprised about it if that was the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't be super surprised about Horizon. I guess I would be a little surprised, given that they literally just did a state of play dedicated to it like a week and a half ago, where they were like, here's 15 minutes of footage. Look how nice this game looks. So it would be weird for them to now sort of go back and be like, oh, it's delayed into next year. Like, that feels like it's going to be their big holiday thing for this year, but
we'll see. So yeah, put your wallet away, Mike, and that'll free up $70 to play Deathloop when that comes out in September.
That does look fun though.
It looks great. Like that, the last bit of press that the game got a couple weeks ago fucking sold me on it.
Yeah, it looks real good.
Yeah, looks pretty fun. Just play, give me all the roguelikes or things that are like like that's my new preferred genre of game, apparently. The new Rainbow Six game, which was formerly named Quarantine, is now being called Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah.
It's going to be revealed during the Ubisoft Forward event. We'll get to see gameplay for the first time. People were wondering when this was going to happen, because the name Quarantine was a cool name for a game until we literally had a pandemic around the entire world that forced everyone to quarantine for like 15 months.
Yeah.
Essentially. So
yeah, I don't think anything about quarantines or related to quarantines is going to sell particularly well anytime soon. So yeah, this makes perfect sense from a marketing perspective.
All I can think of is they're like, it's like the scene from Men in Tights where Prince John was like talking to the witch, and he's like, Latrine, your name's Latrine? She's like, yeah. She's like, they change it. It used to be Shithouse. And he's like, it's a good change. It's a good change. Underrated movie.
Yeah.
There's an artist who is suing Capcom because she alleges that Capcom stole photos for Resident Evil and Devil May Cry games. And we're talking about Resident Evil 4 and the original Devil May Cry. Apparently it took this artist 20 years to deduce the fact that this
I mean, it's or it took her that, I mean, who knows? This is a designer who she has this book called Surfaces, which is a collection of some 1,200 photographs of different textures meant to be used for visual research for artists, architects, designers, etc. Which the book itself was originally published in 1996, but the collection comes with a CD-ROM containing all of the images. That being said, the artist, Judy A. Jurasek, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Jurasek said she requires people to license images from her for commercial use by copywriting her directly. And she says that Capcom never contacted her for a license. And there's court documents, and it's wild the stuff that they appear to have used, because this is like a one-to-one sort of deal. It's like, here's the original image, here's like the Resident Evil 4 logo, here's the original image sort of superimposed at 50%. And it's everything lines up. Yeah, just
here's the only problem she's gonna have though is that like the spider web glass is probably the most like bulletproof evidence she has, like the strongest evidence she has. The problem with the other stuff is that those are objects and those are places that do exist in real life. So unless, like, I don't know if Capcom has to like she'd have to prove that Capcom was inspired by her, that they used her art and her photograph to
I mean, apparently there's more than 200 instances of her photographs being used in Capcom's games. Now, yes, these are photos of things that exist in the world. Some of these are photos of other artwork or photos of design elements and whatnot. Again, this is meant to be sort of a reference guide for artists and architects, but it is still her photograph.
Right.
But how can she prove that they took it from her photograph specifically? And
I feel like if there are 200 instances of stuff from all of which are in her book, that is too much to be coincidental.
I mean, but you got to prove it though. The legal system, while I understand what you're saying and it makes common sense to me, the legal system is all about just doubt. If there's a sliver of doubt, then the onus is on, the person claiming the foul to make them prove it. Like, I get it. I get it, but there seems to be a loophole here where I think Capcom might be able to get away with it.
Maybe. I mean, this is again like
I think this will get settled, honestly. Like,
I think she's not looking for a ton here. I mean, she's looking for like 12 million in damages on account of copyright infringement.
12 million.
I mean, here's the thing. It's basically she's, because I think everything on the CD-ROM probably had a watermark of some sort. So that meant that they like cropped around or removed her watermark otherwise. But yeah, so it's basically 2,500 to 25,000 for each used photograph. So there's text of the whole complaint. I don't know. I think she's right. I think they probably stuck this CD-ROM in a computer 20 years ago or whatever, and or 25 years ago at this point, and decided to basically use it as stock images when it was never stock images to be used like that to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Terrence had to roll out early, and it's probably because he saw our last news story in advance. Speaking of fucked up court cases, the lawsuit transcripts in French court that's being levied against Quantic Dream have.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not a lawsuit against Quantic Dream. this is a lawsuit that Quantic Dream filed against the
that's
French
right. Yes,
publications Le Monde and Mediapart.
That's right, for
And,
reporting for libeling them.
Yes, for apparently libeling them
Okay.
for reporting about toxic workplace conditions and whatnot.
Okay, before you begin, I don't know much about this story, but I do know a little bit about French people.
Yeah.
I haven't read this story yet. I guarantee you somebody says some wild shit that is completely out of pocket. Like
you don't even know yet. You don't
like,
even
no.
of course I smacked her on the ass at work, but that's what we do. We roughhouse.
Both of the CEOs of the studio testified in this trial.
Yeah, both of the CEOs. The more, I think, known CEO, and this report linked doesn't cover it, but apparently David Cage, as part of this lawsuit, there are documents where apparently David Cage got real mad one day and was like, Quantic Dream doesn't make games for faggots. Like that kind of nonsense coming from him, which again doesn't surprise me because this is a guy who made the game Detroit Become Human and then insisted that it had no political political meaning, when like literally over the course of the game you have to hit a button to either become Android Malcolm X or Android Martin Luther King. Like
right.
Literally.
But yes, apparently David Cage and Frenchie McFrenchface.
Guillaume de Fondemer.
Yes, Guillaume de Fondemer. Ho ho wee wee baguette Eiffel Tower. Cage allegedly cried on the stand, stomped his feet, screamed about interferences to his business and damage to his honor, and eventually stormed out of the courtroom altogether.
Damage to my honor. Did the fucking lawyer for the newspaper like slap him in the face with a dueling glove or something like that?
I guess. Meanwhile, de Fondemer reportedly looked at the judges and asked
during his testimony,
and I quote, "But I am not under oath, so can I lie?"
Yo, this is what I'm talking about, yo. Like, look, my wife and I went to Paris one day. We were at a bar. We were talking to a guy. You know, I'm American, obviously, right? And he's just like, yeah, you know, how's it like? What's it like in America? I say, well, you know, we got, you know, issues and stuff. Say, yeah, man, I don't really understand like why Americans can be racist. You know, we love everybody here except for the Muslims. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, yeah, what you just said. All right.
Yo.
All right.
So in case anyone needs a reminder, some of the things alleged by the newspapers that were going on at Quantic Dream are internal troves of photoshopped images depicting employees in sexual situations and altered to look like Nazis that were displayed in open areas of the offices.
Yeah.
That's just a little roughhousing. That's just prank.
Yeah. So de Fondemer followed his I can lie, right, because I'm not under oath, by claiming that Quantic Dream was seriously damaged by the stories of its toxic work environment, but then didn't actually provide any proof of any of these damages. What's super funny is that Quantic Dream has basically done an incredible legal self-own. I mean, this whole lawsuit is an incredible legal self-own. But they, the studio reportedly provided the court with documents that were supposed to defend them against accusations of Social Security fraud by showing the company acting in good faith in the termination of a former employee. However, upon closer examination, those documents revealed irregularities in the process that the defense believed highlighted a possible incident of unlawful dismissal. So they're just like, how bad can we dunk on ourselves in this whole process?
Let me provide you with the evidence that you can use to defeat me.
Yeah, a verdict is expected next month. I feel like over the next month, we will surely come to learn more about how terrible Quantic Dream and David Cage continue to be.
Wow.
Yeah, David Cage, I was reminded of one of the best baseball insults I've seen in a while today, which was several years ago now, in which Davey Johnson called Joe Madden a weird wuss in media. And I think David Cage is a weird wuss.
That's funny.
I think that aptly describes someone who basically shit his pants on the testimony stand this week by crying and storming out of the courtroom.
Yeah,
Fuck that guy.
All right. Go to densepixels.com/lexical. I mean Amazon. When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all of your Amazon purchases, you help out the show, and at no additional cost to you. When I go to densepixels.com/Amazon, my most recent order is a pair of a dress shirt, a pair of slacks, and suspenders for my son, because he is going to be the ring bearer for my sister's wedding.
Cute.
So
your sister got married already.
She did.
Oh, that's right. This is the official, like, non-quarantine edition.
Yeah. This is I still want to have the big party. Which is fine, you know. You know what's not fine? Doing it in the middle at the beginning of July. That's not fun. But
yeah, I have a wedding last weekend of this month. Yep.
Yeah.
Hope the cicadas are gone by then.
Hope the bug orgy is finished. But,
I saw there's some radar which picked up activity from like Baltimore County on down to like DC and parts of Northern Virginia, and it's like, yeah, this radar determined that this stuff that was being picked up was biological in nature. And I'm like, oh, so you can see the bug orgy from space.
Yeah, God,
cool.
Damn,
yo, I straight up haven't left my house.
That's why Jeff Bezos is going there, so he can observe the bug orgy from afar.
Yo, Jeff Bezos is going into space, and we're really gonna let him come back?
Look, I'm just saying. Just like, Jeff, check out that airlock. Oh no, Jeff.
Look,
we gotta get him there first. So you gotta go to densepixels.com/Amazon.
There you go.
I don't have a real like top story this week, because like Carrie said, everyone's waiting with E3 right around the corner. So I figured we could just talk about things that we're hoping to see at E3 this year, non-Golden Sun edition, because I know that's the first thing that Carrie would utter out of her mouth. So it's hard, right? Because there's not a whole lot that we don't like know about already. Sony kind of, jumped their gun a little bit with getting that Horizon footage out there. Even though God of War is not coming out till next year, I wouldn't mind seeing some God of War gameplay footage as well. I think that'd be fun. But the thing I want more than anything is Metroid Prime 4 gameplay and release date. Let's fucking go. Spring 2022. We're going to show a gameplay demo off to you during this Nintendo Direct and drop it on your laps.
Here's the thing about the Nintendo Direct, though, at E3, is that you're probably not going to see a lot of gameplay during the actual Direct, because they generally save extended. Yeah, they save extended gameplay for Treehouse. Yeah, I would almost say I'm cautiously optimistic about seeing Metroid Prime 4.
I'm not allowing myself optimism. If I'm optimistic, then it's not going to happen.
I think we're maybe gonna see more on the Breath of the Wild sequel. I mean, this is the 35th anniversary year for Zelda. They did such a big deal for the 35th anniversary of Mario that I'm sort of surprised we haven't seen more on Zelda yet. We know that we're getting the Skyward Sword port in really just a few weeks here, next month. I wouldn't expect that they're going to like really show much of that, since they're probably going to be like, hey, a reminder, this is coming out in 3 weeks, like pre-order if you haven't already. But I don't think we're going to have a lot of time spent on that. Yeah, I really do hope we fucking get anything related to Golden Sun. It's the 20th anniversary of the franchise. If they're going to do a port of the games to Switch, this is the year to do it. Do I think it's going to happen? No, absolutely fucking not. I don't think it's going to happen anymore. I will be 6 feet in the ground and the Golden Sun storyline will remain unfulfilled more than likely. What I really want to see, I want to see gameplay of Pokemon Legends, because Nintendo did announce a release date for that. They say it's coming out end of January. So I'm hoping we actually get some more in-depth gameplay footage of that. Outside of Nintendo, I really want to see more Final Fantasy 16. Yep, that's about it for me. Like, oh, you know what? Bethesda, because Bethesda's not doing their own thing this year. Bethesda's going to be at the Microsoft, since they own Bethesda now. I think we might get Starfield.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you guys think it's more likely that we get Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 stuff?
I think it's more likely that we get Starfield because we know that they've been working on Starfield for longer. It wouldn't surprise me if they do what they've done with their other flagship titles over the last few years, which is, hey, here's a gameplay trailer. Game comes out in 4 months. We'll see you then. I mean, that's what they managed to do with Fallout 4. Maybe we'll get another teaser on Elder Scrolls 6, but I'm not really holding my breath on that until next year at this point.
Mike, what are you hoping for?
Like you said, Starfield, Final Fantasy 16 would be really lovely. Curious to see what is going on with Halo Infinite, seeing as how it was on the box for the system that I bought.
Good luck.
Yeah. I don't think I'll get any Spider-Man news, but I would love to see it. I would like to see anything regarding a fighting game. I'm curious about. Not the new King of Fighters, right? Because I see enough of that. But like something like a surprise. You know what I mean? Whatever whatever first party titles Sony will put out, I'm looking to be surprised, but I don't know. I'm not super excited right now, but that'll probably change on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. So we'll see.
I'll tell you what for me. So I haven't talked about this on the show this week. The conference that I'm going to be most looking forward to and most intrigued by is actually Microsoft's, because they are closer than you guys realize at pushing me over the edge to getting an Xbox, because there's been enough either exclusives or timed exclusives that are coming out on Game Pass now that they've shown or have talked about, that is intriguing me enough to possibly make it worth it to buy into the Xbox ecosystem, depending on how Starfield looks. But there's already the Ascent, which again, all these are on PC, but I don't play on PC. So there's the Ascent, which is going to be on Xbox. The new Drinkbox game is coming first to Xbox and is going to be on Game Pass for a little bit. If Halo Infinite doesn't look like a pile of dog shit like it did when they showed it off last year, that will be compelling. But I feel like there needs to be just a little bit more to really push me over the edge, because if I'm going to get it, I'm fine with that. But they have to deliver me like 3 to 4 exclusive games a year that I want to play, and that'll make it worthwhile. And they're not quite there yet. Yeah, I think I'm not saying AAA like blockbusters. I'm talking about just 3 or 4. They could be indie, like a couple of them can be indie games like that. That'd be fine as well.
They got enough. They got enough bullets in the chamber that I think you can get that.
Yeah. So we'll see what surprises they have in store. A lot of folks out there think that Elden Ring is finally going to be shown off. We'll see about that. But yeah, so like I said, some modest hopes I think for E3 this year. But yeah, we'll see what like I said, we're only a couple days away from the unofficial start with Keighley Fest. So speaking of E3, we can tie it right into the post office. We're going to skip Daniel's question first, just because I'm a big fan of segues. So we'll start with Johnny, who asks, are you expecting Nintendo to play it safe with modern announcements for E3? Or are you expecting them to blow you away and give it to you with both barrels?
I think this is a both barrels year for Nintendo. I really do. I think, because Nintendo goes either way. Nintendo is either super middling or blow everyone away with both barrels. And the past couple years have been sort of middling, but I feel like this is a blow everyone away year. I think, you know what? Metroid Prime 4, I think, is on the table. Breath of the Wild 2, I think, is on the table. A new Mario is, I think, on the table. Maybe a new Donkey Kong is on the table. We know Pokemon.
I think a new Donkey Kong is likely. A new Mario would blow everyone else away if they showed off Mario Odyssey 2.
I also think the long rumored Switch Pro may also be announced. So yeah, I think this is going to be a big first party year for Nintendo, and I think this is going to be a blow everyone away with both year kind of year.
I agree, but those announcements will be like for 2022. You know what I mean? Like, I
think a lot of them will probably be early 2022. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the best.
I'm thinking later 2022.
I'm gonna be the pessimist. I think we get 1, maybe 2 tentpole games, and everything else is smaller stuff. So
third party.
There. Daniel asks. Daniel's a couple questions. We started his first one that he asked last week. At what PlayStation iteration do you think something changes drastically in the Sony hardware department, or will I be buying the PlayStation 10 on Mars in the future? And I guess the same question with Microsoft. I don't think you're gonna see anything too drastic in terms of hardware changes, especially with PlayStation. PlayStation knows what it is, and they're not trying to be anything else. I think if anything, Microsoft would be the one to experiment with wild stuff.
They already have been the one between the two of them to experiment with wild stuff. Remember the Kinect? What a fun time that was.
I don't.
I do.
God, can you believe that thing really functionally hasn't been part of our life for over 5 years now?
Can you believe that the Xbox One shipped with that mandatorily included?
Right. Bundled in with
bundled.
And everybody was all like, oh, I could turn my Xbox on with my voice so that when I come home from work, I could just say, connect, turn my Xbox on, and then it'll be there by the time I get my, I take
by
my
the
shoes
time I
off.
get my dick out. Yeah.
Like, just press a button,
Let's see here. C. Ken asks, when it originally came out, I never played the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3, so I did not get the best ending due to lack of war resources. How do you feel about the single player experiences in general being tied to playing multiplayer modes? The church and state, I don't think that you should tie anything in the single player game to being forced to play multiplayer. I think that's ridiculous to do that in any game.
I agree, particularly when it comes to your ability to get like the best possible ending, to like subject people to like a lot of people I don't like playing multiplayer games. Monster Hunter is the only multiplayer game that I play, and I only play it because I only have to play with like my 3 best friends. Like, I think that's shitty. If and when that happens, it's one thing to be like, oh, here's an extra bonus little scene afterwards if you do end up doing all of this, that everyone else can then just look up on YouTube, but yeah, I don't like that.
It's a hat trick. That's the right term, right?
Correct.
It's a turkey for all you bowlers out there. I normally don't care for that. I was mad when they did it, and then I started playing the multiplayer. And
it was
this is fun.
Fortunate that Aspect 3's multiplayer happened to be really good, but
it wasn't. And the thing that the reason why I enjoyed it is because it wasn't competitive multiplayer; it was co-op multiplayer. I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, keep them keep them separate. I mean, it gets to the point where Call of Duty just has the whole thing on a separate damn disc.
Daniel asks me, what would make me not buy the next FIFA game? And same with Carrie and Pokemon. Daniel, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking what will get me to buy the next FIFA game, because I did not buy FIFA 21 this past year.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't. It was between console generations, so like I didn't want to buy it on PS4 and then wait for the better version to come out on PS5, because it did. Even when the PS5 version launched, it didn't. Or when the PS5 launched, FIFA 21 on PS5 didn't come until a little bit later.
Right.
I don't know, like sports games, like for me to play FIFA the way that I want to play FIFA, it is such a time suck. And there's so many other games that I would be rather playing right now. I don't play online as much as I did back in the day with FIFA, when I was actually pretty good and could hang in some of the upper divisions. That's not the case anymore. Like I'm lucky to get past Division 6 out of 10 in FIFA nowadays. So yeah, I just don't have the time, and I prefer Ultimate Team, and Ultimate Team just has a lot of grind to it nowadays. So I got to keep my grindy games to a minimum, and so FIFA unfortunately got pushed out. I don't what they can do to get me to buy the next one. Not really sure. Sure. So
I will play every Pokemon. Period.
Rev asks, what's a game at E3 that was promoted so well yet didn't deliver once the final product was finished? I mean, this is in
Cyberpunk.
No Man's Sky.
All of those.
Cyberpunk.
There are tons of games that have flopped, that were given prime presence on an E3 stage, for sure. Just go back in history. Not that Killzone 2 was a bad game, and not that it flopped, but that was like a core tenant to Sony. Basically anything they showed off of that PS3 E3 event, like Genji was on there, Ridge Racer was on there.
Look, Ridge Racer is always a good E3 moment.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Lair was featured prominently during that E3 presentation. If you remember Lair, the fucking dragon riding game where you had to control it by tilting the 6-axis, a terrible game. So yeah,
thinking maybe like, was Anthem given a lot of time at
E3?
E3?
Anthem definitely had some had some feature time at
the
Microsoft.
Minds of Mass Effect. It was yeah.
Really, the better thing to say is if you see something prominently featured at E3, take it with a grain of salt. At least one, that it might not be good. Another question from Daniel. He asks, you guys have not played many games with animal companions, right? If you had a dog in Mass Effect, what would it be, and would it fight?
There are dogs in Mass Effect.
Yeah, the robot
dogs.
Yeah.
I was gonna play it. Like there's animal companions in Fallout. There's dog meat in Fallout 3, and then
there's a whole
Rex in Fallout New Vegas, and then a different dog meat in Fallout 4.
Technically, God of War gives you an animal companion in your son as he follows you around. He's a mammal.
I'll allow it. Children are goblins.
Companions are fine as long as their AI is not moronic.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing there.
Plus I can, if I have a dog, I can like sacrifice it to distract the enemy.
Johnny asks me about my thoughts on the hilarious shitstorm that was the final of the CONCACAF Nations League, which involved fighting in the crowd, players being belted with trash while Mexico is playing. So that's, going to happen. Homophobic chants, again, Mexico involved. So that's going to happen. And slurs and inebriated analysts and a fan jumping out of the skybox during the studio cutaway at halftime, which he links in the video on the Discord. It's US Mexico. Like if you didn't expect all of this, then you haven't watched US Mexico much in the last 20 years, I suppose. And just be glad this was played in the US. When the US plays in Mexico, so at the Estadio Azteca, which is where the Mexican national team plays, there's not a lot of like the fans are right on top of the pitch, basically. Like there's not a lot of border area around the field. So the players, when they're taking like corner kicks and stuff like that, the US players literally get bags of urine thrown on them by Mexican fans. No bullshit.
Yeah. All right, yo. All right. All right. All right. Confederation of North Central America and Caribbean Association Football.
Yeah,
you got to come up with another name, guys.
Just call it CONCACAF. We can't have an elegant name like UEFA, which works a lot better. The South American one is CONMEBOL, which is worse. I feel like.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, I fucking love soccer. Euros coming soon. Can't wait. Oh, it's gonna be fucking great. Mark asks, it might not be able to be answered since you all play so many, but if you were to pick a game for one of the others that you're pretty sure they haven't played, what would it be? I'm assuming that we think they should play is implied here.
Sure.
As well. Carrie, you should play Hades at some point.
I've been told that a few times. I don't generally enjoy roguelikes, so
you may not, but it's like a roguelike crossed with Persona. Like there's like a whole, but not quite.
I know that you could. There's like multiple romance options, and believe me, I have seen things on Twitter regarding Than, Zag, and Meg. Like I am aware of what people are doing with those characters.
And of course, Micah, play No Man's Sky. Come on, what are you doing?
No, no, sorry, not doing that at all. Anything, look, I'm the dumb one, right? I'm the one who plays nothing but like popcorn video games, so I'm assuming that you all have played everything that I have played, or have at least heard about it enough that you know about it, right? Like I can't imagine Carrie playing too many fighting games, but you know about them.
I do know.
Look, neither am I. But I don't know. I find them entertaining. I am very much a fighting game cheerleader in that I do not. I am terrible at fighting games, but I love them. I love all of them. So not all of them, a lot of them. But yeah, I don't know what else I could convince you all to play that you haven't played.
I'm not going to go with my obvious choice, because if you guys were going to play Golden Sun, you would have done it.
I have played Golden Sun.
Yeah. I don't think Micah has.
No, because I can't now because we used to sing a song, son, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. And now that's all I think about whenever you say Golden Sun. Like I think of that song that we sing to him. So no, can't do it.
I don't know. I think as far as like a short, interesting experience, Brad, you might enjoy Hypnospace Outlaw. You guys might both enjoy Hypnospace Outlaw, because I feel like both of you would appreciate a trip back to the internet of the mid 1990s, and that is what Hypnospace Outlaw is. Very
cool. I'll have to check it out. I heard the smallest bit about Hypnospace Outlaw, but not enough to
It's an interesting little point and click experience. I don't know that, like, I wouldn't call it a point and click adventure, but like it's a game that requires some brain power to get through. So
Leonardo says, what is the last song you listened to?
Check my Spotify.
Fists of Fury by Kamasi Washington. He's a jazz musician.
Mine's also a jazz song by the 8-Bit Big Band, their salsa rendition of the Super Mario Brothers theme.
Oh, cute. I like 8-Bit Big Band. Mine is Atomic Karate from TWRP or Twerp. Love those space Canadians.
Finally, from Steve, if you could pitch an original game idea to a AAA developer, what would you propose? Use other games or genres to describe your vision.
It's gonna sound like I'm stealing his, but a science fiction open world, like GTA style open world game. And when I say science fiction, I don't mean like cyberpunk science fiction. I mean like hyper, not like gritty future, but like polished future with a seedy underbelly. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like the upside down of Coruscant. You know what I mean? Like it would be like polished and everything looks perfect, but like that's a false facade, and it would be set up like Grand Theft Auto, like with that type of freedom where I can, you know, do whatever I want and have like powers. I guess it would be kind of like Saints Row, but with a nice like polished future, and you know, with some money behind it, not like, you know, Saints Row 4 or whatever.
I don't know. Give me Golden Sun. Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know as far as an original game
Golden
idea.
Sun sequel.
Give me
That's
a good sequel to Golden Sun. No, I would like it if a game other than like Assassin's Creed did sort of a deep dive into these sort of different eras of world history. I would love some interesting like Skyrim style, I guess, open world RPG based on like ancient Greek or Egyptian mythology. That would be cool. I've always been a big fan of that subject matter. But yeah, that's all I got.
I would love a science fiction game. In like the Mass Effect style of science fiction. I hesitate to say like a Mass Effect spin-off version of this, but a science fiction game in that style, but to the caliber of like an adventuring, like an Uncharted game of sorts, basically like an adventuring game with like puzzle solving and really fun combat. Maybe make the combat a little bit more complex than Uncharted, in terms of like being able to like upgrade weapons and things of that nature. I think that would be pretty cool. And the adventuring genre is not really one that you see a whole lot of sci-fi stuff in, or at least not any good games that are sci-fi themed in that genre. So I think that they have something that they could do something there. We thought we were going to get it with whatever 1313 was supposed to be, but did not end up happening for reasons. So very good. Great questions. Thank you all very much for your post office submissions this week. Don't forget, you too can submit questions to the Dense Pixels post office by simply joining the Discord at densepixels.com/fans. Join today. Like Carrie mentioned, we're going to be doing some Discord live stuff for some of the E3 things. So we will hook up with you around that, and more info as it comes. That'll also be posted in the announcements section on the Discord page, I would assume. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. If you're listening to us, if you're watching us and you haven't hit the subscribe button, what are you doing? Go to youtube.com/densepixels, hit subscribe, and then make sure you also follow us on Twitch. Carrie, Suppets Carrie, Terrence is Apparition410, and I am Dense Pixels Brad. Again, I do plan on streaming some Griftlands at some point this week. So if you were intrigued by my talking about it, then definitely keep an eye open for that, and I will try to cross post it onto the YouTube channel.
I haven't streamed in a minute, but I've been mostly I came to the realization that the Typing of the Dead Overdrive is a game that you can play on Steam. And that's a game I think I'd be very good at, because I can type more than 100 words a minute, like on a regular basis. That's my usual speed. I type very quickly. So I want to know if I could just like tear ass in that game or not.
Survive the zombie apocalypse by blasting out.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, like I said, keep your eyes and ears open for E3 content. I'm sure next week's episode will be jam-packed with all sorts of E3 hot takes and things of that nature. But until then, thank you very much for watching and listening. We'll see you all the next time.
Thanks.
See you.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.